and Salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Updates at Noon with me, Mohammed Priya. Making the headlines today, Agong Prime Minister made personal efforts to rescue Malaysians in Sudan. Stern action with the foreigners driving recklessly in Malaysia. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir revealed that efforts to rescue the Malaysians in Sudan would have been more difficult without the help from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and the Prime Minister. Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah himself had contacted the President of the United Arab Emirates to ask for help in operation. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim also kept abreast with developments on the rescue efforts and contacted several parties in Sudan and other places.
Bagi pihak kerajaan dan juga Wisma Putra khususnya ingin menjunjung kasih kepada Seri Paduka Baginda Yang di-Pertuan Agong yang amat prihatin dan berusaha dalam memastikan keselamatan rakyat Malaysia di Sudan sentiasa berada dalam keadaan yang baik dan Baginda Tuanku sentiasa mengikuti setiap waktu untuk memastikan supaya proses yang dilakukan ini berjalan dengan baik dan Baginda juga turut membuat beberapa panggilan untuk memastikan proses ini dapat dilakukan dengan sebaik mungkin. Dan demikian juga saya ingin maklumkan tentang penlibatan langsung oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim yang turut bersama-sama mengikuti dan juga berusaha menghubungi pihak-pihak tertentu di Sudan.
The Sultan of Kedah, Sultan Salihuddin Sultan Badlisha, has consented to attending the Malaysia Madani Aidilfitri Open House in Kedah tomorrow. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadzil said the federal government is honoured that His Highness was willing to participate in the event. Fahmi, in a statement, said the presence of His Highness would certainly enliven the festivities and atmosphere of the event. This would also give an opportunity to the residents of Kedah to celebrate Aidilfitri with their Sultan. The event will be held beginning 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. and will take place at the Hotel Raya Alostar, Kedah. Previously, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has invited all members of the public to attend the Malaysia Madani Aidilfitri Open House at 6 locations, starting with Kedah tomorrow. The event will next be held in Pulau Pinang, Negeri Sembilan, Kelantan, Terengganu and Selangor. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has reminded the Royal Malaysian Navy TLDM to maintain its dignity so as to remain respected by the public and all other relevant parties. In his message, in conjunction with the 89th anniversary of TLDM yesterday, Datuk Seri Anwar also expressed his appreciation to all TLDM personnel for their services in guarding and protecting the country's waters. He expressed hopes that the brotherhood of the force continues to be upheld and respected in honour of the deeds of all TLDM personnel in protecting and preserving the security of the country's waters. TLDM Day is celebrated on 27th April every year. On 16th September 1963, the Royal Malaysian Navy Volunteer Force was renamed to the Royal Malaysian Navy in conjunction with the establishment of Malaysia. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadzil shared the sad news of the passing of Ekspedisi vocalist Syed Ismail Syed Ibrahim, better known as Mail, who died last night. Fahmi on Twitter described himself as one of the millions of the vocalist's fans who enjoyed numerous works of Ekspedisi. Fahmi shared on his official Facebook page that his favourite song was Semangat Yang Hilang, one of the Ekspedisi's hit tracks, and prayed that Syed Ismail's soul be placed among the righteous and virtuous. Meanwhile, the news of Mail's passing was also shared by his manager, known as Bro Yazid, through his Facebook post. The news of the passing was also confirmed by Mail's daughter, Sharifa Irfatasha, on WhatsApp. Ekspedisi was a popular rock band from the 1980s to the 1990s and often held concerts at funfairs nationwide, earning the group the nickname Raja Funfair, or King of the Funfairs. Still to come, customs foil diesel smuggling attempt in the north. Stay tuned. Stern action, including seizure of vehicles, may be taken towards foreigners found to drive or ride recklessly in the country who do not abide by the Malaysian traffic laws. They could also be blacklisted from driving or operating vehicles and heavy machinery in the future. According to Road Transport Department, JPJ Senior Director of Enforcement, Datuk Lokman Jamaan, Malaysians who allow foreigners to drive their car recklessly in the country may also be subject to legal action.
Memang terdapat pemandu-pemandu warga asing, terutamanya ya penunggang-penunggang motosikal. Di mana tindakan-tindakan bersama Jabatan Imigresen Malaysia kita laksanakan, mereka dihalang daripada menggunakan terus kenderaan mereka dan kenderaan mereka juga akan disita. Dan pemilik kenderaan juga akan dikenakan tindakan.
He said this after Ops Hari Raya at Jambatan Pulau Pinang. Over 71,000 traffic rule violation notices were issued by JPJ nationwide throughout the 10 days it was carried out. The Royal Malaysian Customs Department, JKDM, successfully foiled 4 attempts of diesel smuggling in Kedah and Perlis as of March 2023. This includes 3 cases in Perlis with a total seizure value of 4,340 litres of fuel worth over 9,000 ringgit. Meanwhile, in Kedah, 1 case was busted with 83,000 litres of fuel worth 209,000 ringgit. According to a statement, JKDM informed that they will continue to work closely with the Thailand customs to thwart diesel from Malaysia to neighbouring countries and vice versa. The Perlis Ministry of Domestic Trade and Costs of Living have also issued a ban on refuelling of subsidised diesel and petrol for vehicles registered in Thailand. JKDM has enforced a stricter requirement of documents, especially for lorries used to transport the fuel. In the meantime, JKDM is currently in the midst of completing the standard operating procedures framework for a special operation with the Thailand customs. This is to ensure better and more organised planning based on intelligence and networking. A total of 374 cases of various offences involving compounds worth 60,200 ringgit were detected through inspections of 66,701 premises nationwide. This was found through operations dubbed Ops Pantau 2023, conducted from the 23rd March to 21st April. The operations were conducted to ensure that all consumers are easily able to procure goods and daily necessities at a reasonable price. They were carried out at Ramadan bazaars, Aidilfitri bazaars, public markets, supermarkets, grocery shops, and even online sales. The focus of monitoring includes the supply and prices of goods, cheap sales, weighing devices, the sale of counterfeit or pirated goods, the festive season maximum price control scheme for Aidilfitri, halal issues, and the sale of Aidilfitri necessities. The ministry also received 1,127 complaints throughout the period. KPDN will continue to proactively carry out daily enforcement and monitoring activities on premises nationwide, even though the operation period has ended. Investigations are still in progress to determine the actual cause of death of an 11-year-old child and another 7-year-old who reportedly died of heat stroke. Now, the matter was confirmed by Kelantan Health Department JK&K Director Datuk Dr. Zaini Hussein today. Prior to this, it was viral on social media about the death of 2 children from heat stroke at Klinik Kesihatan Balai, Bacho and Kampung Kota. The mother of one of the children, Wani alias aged 32, said a child was still healthy and active on the day of Aidil Fitri as they celebrated with their families. She said her eldest child was even healthy enough to cycle around before suddenly the child's condition plummeted and he suffered from fever and diarrhea. Just before she was about to send the son to the clinic, she said the child had a seizure. She had to bear the news of her son's passing later at 9:27 that morning. Meanwhile, the father of the other child, Ahmad Faris Fazli Mohammad Nasir, said his only daughter was coughing for the past week before vomiting for a few days after. He brought his child to hospital, Raja Perempuan Zainab II, last Monday, and the doctor allowed him to take his daughter home. However, Ahmad Faris said his daughter's condition deteriorated rapidly before she died at 7:20 a.m. on Tuesday. Re-emerges by video link with Putin. That and more coming up in the foreign segment. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim expressed hope that Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will be continued to be given physical strength and good health. Through a post on his official Facebook page, Datuk Sri Anwar shared that he had the opportunity to speak with Erdogan last night. The Premier said Erdogan's health condition is improving and the President thanked everyone who prayed for his well-being and recovery. Last Wednesday, it was reported by the international media that Erdogan fell ill during a live TV interview on Tuesday. The Turkish President later returned to explain that he had stomach flu or gastroenteritis. He then cancelled his scheduled campaign rallies for that day and Thursday, citing health reasons. Turkey's ailing President Erdogan on Thursday re-emerged from a 2-day absence and spoke by a video link with Vladimir Putin at a virtual ceremony unveiling a Russian-built nuclear power plant. Now, the 69-year-old leader suspended all campaigning for Turkey's pivotal 14 May election after getting sick while conducting a live TV interview on Tuesday evening. Erdogan said he had developed an upset stomach while hopping between 5 cities for rallies and public project launches at the start of the week. Health Minister Fahrettin Koca said on Thursday that Erdogan had infectious gastroenteritis, a short-term illness caused by the inflammation of the digestive tract. Meanwhile, Putin praised Erdogan's leadership and said Moscow was always ready to extend the hand of friendship to Turkey. He said that close partnership between Russia and Turkey benefits both countries as well as regional and international stability.
Убеждены, что тесное сотрудничество, партнерство России и Турции носит взаимовыгодный характер, отвечает коренным интересам народов наших стран, государств и идет на благо региональной и международной стабильности в целом.
Уважаемый президент России, дамы и господа.
A US-South Korean agreement on strengthening deterrence against Pyongyang will discourage Seoul from seeking nuclear weapons, but also highlights the near absence of viable ways to remove the threat of North Korea's arsenal. For years, the United States and the international community have unsuccessfully pushed for North Korea to give up its weapons, which pose a long-running danger that has encouraged many in the South to believe Seoul needs its own nuclear arms. Seeking to head off such a move, Washington agreed on Wednesday to deepen cooperation with Seoul on nuclear issues and the regular deployment of strategic assets to South Korea. President Yoon Suk-yeol, on a state visit to the United States, in turn reaffirmed his country's commitment to non-proliferation. North Korea has defied years of punishing sanctions to continue work on its banned nuclear missiles program and has shown no signs that it's willing to consider giving up weapons it views as insurance against regime change. Pyongyang conducted a record-breaking string of sanctions-defying launches this year, including test-firing the country's first solid-fuel ballistic missile, a key technical breakthrough for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's military. The United States on Thursday revamped its policy on migrants by setting up processing centers overseas and toughening penalties for unlawful entry, anticipating a surge of arrivals as COVID-era rules expire next month.
the return to processing migrants under Title VIII authorities will be swift and immediate. We have been preparing for this transition for more than a year and a half. Notwithstanding those preparations, we do expect that encounters at our southern border will increase, as smugglers are seeking to take advantage of this change and already are hard at work spreading disinformation that the border will be open after that.
U.S. President Joe Biden's administration, which has struggled to find a balance on an issue that has galvanized its Republican rivals, said it expected a sharp increase in the number of Latin American migrants able to emigrate through legal channels. Colombia and Guatemala agreed to set up centers to review the applications of migrants who will be denied entry if they try on their own to reach the U.S. border. Canada and Spain have also agreed to take in some of the people who will be cleared to emigrate. The U.S. State Department said it aimed to double the number of refugees the United States takes in from the Western Hemisphere.
Orderly and humane.
Thai police have widened their investigations into a woman accused of spate of cyanide poisoning murders, with officers raising the number of victims to 13 and charging her with premeditated murder. Sararat Rangsi Wutapon, who is married to a senior policeman, was arrested on Tuesday over 9 alleged murders which took place over several years. Police believe money was the motive in the killings, but said that Sararat, who is 4 months pregnant, has previously been diagnosed with psychiatric issues. Officers were now investigating at least 13 suspicious deaths dating back to 2020. On Thursday, Sararat, wearing pale pink and flanked by officers who pushed through a scrum of reporters, was seen being taken from a Bangkok police station into custody. Police have not specified how many murders she has been charged with, but they say she denies all the allegations against her. Officers have also expanded the geographic area they are investigating to 5 provinces, most to the west of Bangkok. Officers found a substance at the woman's home that authorities believe to be cyanide and suspect she poisoned the victim's food and drink. Police described how a 14th person narrowly escaped death after vomiting up poisoned food. Police also urged the public to contact police with any information about other potential cases. Peru's president decreed a state of emergency at the South American country's borders Wednesday and ordered the deployment of troops to reinforce checkpoints and block undocumented migrants making their way north from Chile. Hundreds of migrants, who the United Nations says are mainly from Haiti and Venezuela but had been living in Chile, have been blocked for weeks at the border between the Peruvian city of Tacna and Arica in northern Chile. Many say they are seeking a way home or plan to continue further north to the United States. On Wednesday, President Dina Boluarte said extra soldiers will be deployed to support police at border crossings with Chile, Bolivia, Brazil, Ecuador and Colombia. The state of emergency is due to take effect on Thursday, but the government did not say what it would entail or how long it would remain in place. Hundreds of migrants have been crowded for weeks in improvised camps at the border crossing between Peru and Chile, stuck in limbo between the two countries. A UN refugee agency is advocating for a humanitarian solution to their plight. It said in a statement Wednesday that it was important to have channels for migrants to access Peru if they are seeking international protection, family reunification, or have other humanitarian issues. But the agency welcomed some of the measures announced by Lima, including an amnesty and fines that would allow 100,000 refugees and migrants in Peru to normalize their status. Australia's oldest coal-fired power plant will shut down Friday as the country, a once notorious climate straggler, prepares for a seismic shift towards renewable energy. Now, the little power station, about 3 hours' drive north of Sydney, is one in a series of aging coal-fired plants slated to close in the coming years. Built in 1971, Lidl provides about 10% of the electricity used in New South Wales, Australia's most populous state. For decades, coal has provided the bulk of Australia's electricity. But University of New South Wales renewable energy expert Mark Diesendorf told AFP that stations such as Lidl were fast becoming unreliable clunkers. Besides being inefficient, highly polluting and expensive to repair, the continued widespread use of coal-fired power plants would make Australia's climate targets almost impossible to meet. Australia has long been one of the world's largest coal producers and exporters, and under a series of governments of all stripes, it has resisted pressure to scale back the industry. But the centre-left government elected last year on the promise of climate action has pledged that 82% of the country's electricity will come from renewable sources by 2030. This demands a drastic overhaul, while world leaders such as Norway produce more than 90% of their power through renewables. Australia currently sits around 30%. Coming up in sports, Sabah, KL and Penang emerge victorious at home ground. National karate exponent R. Sharmindran has been given the honour of carrying the Jalu Gemilang at the 2023 SEA Games opening ceremony at the Morodok Teko National Stadium in Phnom Penh, Cambodia on the 5th of May. Olympic Council of Malaysia, OCM President Tan Sri Muhammad Nurza Zakaria said one of the reasons they chose Sharmindran to be the flag bearer is because he is a gold medal prospect in the upcoming SEA Games. Sharmindran, 30, is gunning for a fourth straight gold medal in the men's Kumite 75kg category, having emerged as champion in the same event since the 2017 edition in Kuala Lumpur. He will be the second karate exponent to carry the Jalu Gemilang in the opening ceremony of the biennial games after R. Puvaneswaran, who was the flag bearer at the 2003 SEA Games in Hanoi, Vietnam. The 32nd edition of the SEA Games will be held in Phnom Penh, Cambodia from the 5th to the 17th May. Skipper Badrul Bakhtiar shines under the spotlight in Lika Stadium last night after he scored from a free kick to help Sabah FC move up one spot up to third after edging Selangor FC 2-1. With the win, Sabah managed to maintain its undefeated streak at home ground. Sabah opened accounts in the 24th minute when Sadil Ramdani slotted home from the penalty spot, but Selangor drew level in the 51st minute when Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim let fly a screamer from outside the box. Sabah, however, made sure of victory courtesy of skipper Badrul, who scored from a free kick in the 66th minute. Sabah are now third with 20 points, with Selangor remaining in second spot despite the defeat, and Johor Darul Ta'zim JDT perched atop the 14-team standings with 27 points. And over in Cheras, Kuala Lumpur City FC gunned down PDRM FC 3-0 with goals from Romel Morales, Paulo Josue and Kipre Cheche. Boyan Hodak's men did not waste any time to score their first goal as Morales put them in front in the 14th minute. Team captain Paulo Josue then doubled the lead with an attempt at goal in the 22nd minute. The KL City defensive line was tested when PDRM FC made 2 attempts at goal in the second half. However, striker Kipre Cheche sealed the win for the City Boys with a header, thus putting KL City FC at the 6th spot in the league with 15 points. Meanwhile, in the north, Penang FC had to fight back from a goal down to defeat third from bottom Kuching City FC 2-1 at the City Stadium in Georgetown. Kuching City drew first blood through Abu Razak Kamara in the 14th minute before hosts Penang hit back with swiftly through Khairul Akmal Rokisham in the 45th minute and Suni Saad in the 51st. The deadline for the third and final bids to take over Premier League club Manchester United is 2100 GMT today. United's American owners, the Glazer family, launched a formal sales process late last year and have received several bids, including from Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe and Finnish businessman Thomas Ziliakis. The 20-time English Premier League won the Domestic League Cup in February for their first trophy since winning the European League in 2017, their longest wait for silverware since 1983. The Red Devils currently sit fourth in the Premier League and have reached the final of the FA Cup. The Glazer family are seeking around £6 billion, having bought the club for £790 million in 2005 as part of a highly leveraged deal. There are thought to be multiple other interested parties. Formula One is braced for chaos on the streets of Baku this weekend as Azerbaijan hosts the first sprint race of the season and kicks off a run of 5 Grand Prix in 6 weeks. After a long April break due to the cancellation of the Chinese Grand Prix, racing resumes with the sprint recast as a standalone event and a qualifying session replacing the final practice. The change should allow drivers to race for points on Saturday, knowing the outcome will not affect where they line up on Sunday. Despite teams voting unanimously in favour, the new format could backfire on such a tricky city circuit where speeds are high and the walls and fences leave no room for error. The track has seen plenty of crashes since its debut on the calendar in 2016. Champions Red Bull have won all 3 races so far this season, twice won 2 and start as favourites, while Fernando Alonso chases his 4th podium in a row with Aston Martin. Baku has yet to witness a repeat winner, but that looks likely to end with Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, both past winners of the race, and their car in a league of its own. Mexican Perez has much of the best record with victory in 2021, second in 2022 and third in 2016 and 2018. Verstappen won last year. Mercedes, with 7 times world champion Lewis Hamilton still chasing his first win since 2021, are the only others to have won in Baku. Chief Technical Officer James Allison returns to his role of Technical Director, swapping jobs with Mike Elliott, with the former champions ramping up car development. Several other teams will also bring upgrades and plenty of spares.
Great work's been done back in the past. Jalinkan uhuah, raikan kesatuan di Syawal yang mulia. Majlis Rumah Terbuka Malaysia Madani bersama Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri buat julung-julung kali diadakan di negeri Kedah, iaitu pada hari Sabtu 29 April 2023 bermula pukul 10 pagi hingga 2 petang di Hotel Raya Alostar, Kedah. Orang ramai dijemput hadir dan perkhidmatan bas disediakan.
And that ends updates at noon today. Wrapping up with a recap of our top story, Agong Prime Minister make personal efforts to rescue Malaysians in Sudan. Tune in to Malaysia Tonight, coming up at 8:30 p.m. on Saluran Berita RTM. We leave you with visuals of 2-time Olympic gold medalist Michaela Schifrin exploring her abilities downhill after being the most successful Alpine World Cup skier of all time. I'm Mohana Priya. Stay tuned to TV2 and Salam Malaysia Madani.